Coming up on this episode of Outlook TV, the Transform Cabaret Festival at the Cultch.
Toronto's The Well.
Emily Molloy's new single, Wide Awake. And much, much more. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. Outlook is the queer news magazine show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to coast. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Sister Fancy Pants. We'd like to thank the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations for the privilege of filming this episode on their traditional unceded lands.
We're going to kick off this episode with a story from Vancouver, from the Cultch.
We're catching up with the drag artists in Transform Cabaret.
What's up, Canada? Thank you for joining us for another edition of Outlook TV. Tonight we are here at the lovely Cultch, where we are experiencing a multimedia, multidisciplinary show that prioritizes BIPOC voices. Welcome to 2021's Transform Cabaret Festival.
This is my third year working with the Transform Festival. The Darlings have been on it since the beginning, and yeah, we were last year meant to do a live show and ended up being this beautiful film festival instead, and this year we got something in between, so I'm really excited.
Seven old ladies, we are held by you!
Such like a wonderful trust with queer-based media and like with Chris and Maya and the team, that like you can give them the concept and they'll make it happen.
I think that an audience that comes to a festival like this is understanding that we are going to be delving into really intense content sometimes and trying to create like an impact that is long lasting, rather than I find sometimes in nightlife we can get caught up in trying to make things that are 3.5 minutes of ultra excitement and trying to create this like micro digestion for people to be able to take in art really fast. Same with social media and TikTok. It's all meant to be really, really short, segmented art forms, and I think our show is meant to be, you're meant to stop what you're doing and leave your world for an hour and embark on ours.
Come and play with mommy. At home, please use your key. Come party just with me.
I know that for the whole festival as a whole, you can really expect to see a little bit of everything and a little bit of everyone. But for my pieces in particular, they're very experimental. There's a lot of different colors involved and different points of view, and I try to use the camera as like another character. So we really do that with this opening bash, and we really do that with the Darlings' demise. One thing that is super special about this opening bash tonight that we're seeing is we shot, I think, over 50% of it outside. We went out to Musqueam area with Kalimia to do some language, and we really tried to immerse ourselves in the land for this specific piece because of the type of show it is. There's a protocol keeper, Kalimia Sparrow, and she is making sure that we are doing everything on this land the correct way, and I think that is a really important thing that all events should have live or online here in so-called Vancouver.
It's still hard to go into certain spaces and feel safe to be exactly who you are.
And from the Cultch, you are watching Outlook TV.
Next, let's head out to Abbotsford, out to farm country where they had drag.
Yes, drag being accepted out in country land shows how far we has come. And with Anita Tighthole, the organizer, well, she's come a lot.
If you're an eggplant looking for a peach, then you're at the right place. We're at Tucked and Loaded, Rise of the Aubergine. Are you feeling lucky? I know what I need. I need a tight hole.
The Tucked and Loaded series is a show that I created about 5 years ago. And the big thing for me was creating a place for people to come together in the Fraser Valley, because a lot of people don't want to drive to Vancouver because it's so expensive to get a hotel and get into the clubs. And so that was my big thing. And then as well, because there's not a lot of supports here in the Valley for gay people, I really wanted to raise money for charities. And so I started working with the Fraser Valley Youth Society, which is an organization that supports LGBTQ2+ and allied youth here. And so I always raise money through different charity events and 50/50s and raffles and stuff here. This is a relaunch of the show where we used to do it at the stage in Mission. It closed down recently. So I really wanted to get on the ball and start a new show. And we're 5 minutes away in Abbotsford, just over the bridge in Matsqui, and at a bigger venue. And we sold out within 3 weeks. Thing for me at the shows, we're bringing Vancouver Queens, so bringing that Vancouver experience here to the Valley. So in today's show, we actually have Peach Cobbler, Isolde Baron, and Celestial Seasons, as well as myself and a Valley drag king.
Well, I've been friends with Anita Titlehold for quite some time. I actually started watching her shows at the stage in Mission. One day I just went up to her and said, hey, I think I can do that. And it was game over from there. She hasn't let me go since. Drag Kings in Abbotsford, I think there may be one or two, but I honestly don't know of many. So I think I'm the only one. We are introducing a new one tonight.
The shows will be 4 times a year on the last Saturdays of the months. Please follow me on Instagram so that you can find out when the shows are and buy tickets.
In Abbotsford, BC, this is Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
It's time for us to take a little break now. Fancy needs to get herself looking even better, if that's possible.
Hi, my name is Brendan Prost, and you're watching Outlook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Next up, we're going to the VIFF for a short film.
Ooh, it's called Heavy Petting, so I'm expecting very good things.
Ooh.
We're at the 2021 Vancouver International Film Festival, where today we're going to be speaking with Brendan Prost, Canadian filmmaker, actor, director, about his entry for this year's festival. Please join us.
So Heavy Petting, it's an eerie, bifurcated character drama, which means like it tells the story of 2 different characters, like split in half. And it's about a queer encounter between these 2 individuals and a macabre test of one of their social obscurities. So it's a film that's really interested in like the distinction and degeneration between loneliness and desolation. And also like in terms of its exploration of queer subject matter, it's really interested in like the different like between acute and chronic conditions of loneliness, and particularly like how queer folks are especially impacted by mental health issues, and particularly like bisexual folks who often, because their identities are masked or like invisible, suffer most acutely.
We're not supposed to have secondaries at the house.
I know, it's not like I invited her over to have a threesome.
I'm really interested in, doing deep dives with actors, creating characters from scratch with them, doing devised work, doing improvised work, and that my work is really like succeeds and thrives on the work that the actors bring to it.
How did you have to sleep with them? I did not even recognize me. Your hair's all fucking curly now. You look totally different.
I had this really just kind of like ridiculously independent like DIY spirit, and like all I wanted to do was make movies, and I didn't know how it was going to be a part of my career, or I just wanted to make them. So I just kind of like started doing stuff, and a couple of them were the first 2 feature films that I made, Generation Y and Shot. They taught me everything about how to make movies, how to manage a team, how to pull resources together from nothing, and all of that. My skills are getting sharper. So at the 3rd and 4th feature film, Spaces and Reservations and Sensitive Parts, I started to work together less with a team of like non-professionals and more with other filmmakers. In the last like 5 or 6 years or so, I've been really focused on short film, and mastering my craft and getting, I guess, like some kind of really recognizable achievements and like bona fides under my belt that I could like show off to people in the industry so that I could start to get bigger resourced projects. And that's where Loretta's Flowers began, and this new project, Heavy Petting. And I think that's also kind of where my work really started to mature, and where I also started to really focus on more queer subject matter, I think.
Finally! Fuck, I'm freezing my fucking tits off here.
I have two kind of horror thriller features that are in the works. So if people like kind of the darker and the weirder elements of Heavy Petting, they're really going to enjoy these and think they're really out there. But then I also have like a personal like hybrid documentary project that's about my days as a child actor, and about my and how it's creative, like a real dependence in me for performance and to be liked by an audience. And I'm also developing that at the same time while I finish my MFA at UBC.
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt at the Vancouver International Film Festival in Vancouver.
Now we're going to check in with our friend Jamie Smith about the book he wrote with his mother. Oh, yes, I can. Just watch me.
Hello, Outlook TV. It's a beautiful, sunny fall day, and it is time for Story Time with Jamie. Jamie, what are we reading today?
That's right, Ollie. We are reading Oh Yes I Can, Just Watch Me, a book I co-wrote with my mom, Julie. Her favorite activity of all was dancing in the living room with her daddy to Scottish country music. My mom lives in Sherbrooke, Quebec. I'm here in Vancouver, and it was the beginning of the pandemic. It was May 2020, just before Mother's Day, and the only way we could really see each other was through Zoom. So we chat a lot. My mother and I were quite close, and she was telling me what she wanted to do during the pandemic, that she wanted to write a children's book, but she didn't really know what to write. And I said to her, well, why don't you just write about your life? My mom, when she was at the age of 3, was diagnosed with polio. And as a result, it left her partially disabled. And I said, Mom, all of your life, people have been telling you, you can't do this, you can't do that. And what did you tell them? And in her beautiful Scottish accent, she said, oh yes, I can, just watch me. And I said, Mom, that's the title of your book. It took about, oh my God, just probably like a year and a half to complete everything. It's quite we use a company called Tellwell Publishers out of Victoria. We self-published, and we actually had our cousin, it was a family project. My cousin Craig decided to illustrate the book for us. Wee Scottish lass named Julie. She was a feisty, determined little girl. People tell me that they bought this book for their kids, but then they actually kept it for themselves, because in this book there's actually 2 core messages. The first one is just when you're doubting yourself, or when people are telling you or bullying you or telling you you can't do something, to say to yourself, oh yes I can, just watch me, which is a great mantra. But we also have another message in the book at the very end, and it deals with, well, what do you do when the going gets really tough? And sometimes positive thinking is not enough. So we also address that at the end of the book.
I would feel free to say that I was gay, but I'm not gay.
As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, I think a lot of people can really relate. I know myself, I've been told I can't do things, or I've been bullied growing up. And also I think, it's a nice story that, my mom has 2 gay sons, and it was just a really nice project, the feel-good project that we did together. But like I said, it has a really empowering message for everyone. Yeah, and I also think it's now is the time to have marginalized characters, front and center, the star of the show. Today, there is a vaccine for the polio virus, and children can't get sick from polio anymore. I think the main message that we want people to take from this book is that if you're doubting yourself, if you have people in your life that are telling you you can't do something, and you truly in your heart want to do something, just say to yourself, oh yes I can, just watch me. And you don't have to prove yourself to anybody, you can do it. Another favorite activity was going for vanilla ice cream with raspberry syrup on a summer's evening.
Well, make sure that you encourage our fabulous author, Jamie, and his mom, Julie, because 10% of the proceeds of this amazing book are going to go with the Special Olympics. For Outlook TV, this is Ollie.
And Jamie Smith.
In Vancouver.
Time for another break for us.
Rebecca's got to go butch it up a little bit, if that's possible.
I was going to say, I think I'm pretty darn butchy today.
Hi, my name is John. I'm from The Well on Church Street in Toronto, and you're watching Outlook TV.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
We're headed to Toronto to find out more about the new kid on the block, The Well. New kid on the Church Street Village, and they are The Well. They're joining many established restaurants and bars and clubs, and we're finding out a little bit more about them.
In Church Street because I bought a property in Hamilton where I was born and raised, and my thought process was to open a bar for the community because they haven't had anything there for many, many years. And then this property came for lease on Church Street, and people said, well, why don't you do one in Toronto as well? So that's where this idea came from, on Church Street. So I leased the property. I signed the papers in February of 2020, just before the pandemic, and then we were negotiating the lease in March when everything got shut down. So that helped a little bit, and then we went under construction during the summer all through the pandemic to get what you see today. I took over the 4 walls, and we've done everything from tables to the bars, the mirrors, the shower, everything. Well, the whole purpose behind The Well is we want to give a complete package. So we want to be your one-stop shop. You come here for entertainment, you come here to see the Go-Go Boys in the shower, and you can also have a variety of Canadian food. So it's from wraps to our own smash burger to garlic bread with cheese, you know, all the different items that are normal bar food. And we try to elevate it a little bit. We're not high-end, but we're not low-end. It's a good product. Yes, I've been involved with the international court system for over 25 years. I started in Hamilton because that's where I lived. So I ran for emperor 4 different times and was elected. So I was emperor 2, 6, 9, and 16 of Hamilton. And I also sit as an heir apparent to the Queen Mother of the Americas on the International Court Council right now. And I'm also 3rd in line of succession to become the next King Father of the International Board. So I've been doing lots of charity work right across, not only in Hamilton, but anywhere in the community to help whatever charities that are needed.
The Well has given me life, honey. It is the heart of Church Street. It is palpitating, everything. It's amazing. It is brand new, and I just love it. So excited to be performing live here. And of course, I thank The Well for that opportunity. And it's amazing because we have so many queens here. So we are just so excited to perform for people once again. It's nice to see people clap, hear people clap, and enjoy the shows. There's shows here Tuesday to Sunday. We have a different type of shows. We have karaoke nights on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we have open stage where you can see new talent and welcome new talent to our roster. And from Thursday to Sunday, we got shows galore from 9 p.m. till 2 a.m.
My long-term goal for the Well brand would be to grow the brand across Canada and the US and kind of like franchise them out, not quite a franchise, but have an owner-operator and profit-sharing type of deal to give those people opportunities like I was given back in the day with Wendy's. So that's what I want to do to people in the community that want to own and operate and do profit sharing for you have skin in the game. So that's my hope, to go right across Canada and the US.
From The Well in Toronto, this is Sister Fancy Pants for Outlook TV.
And now we're going to go check in with Emily Molloy, singer-songwriter.
Her new video for Wide Awake was filmed in Whistler, BC.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. We had the opportunity to catch up with the latest and greatest musical talent to come out of Vancouver. We get a chance to chat with Emily Molloy. Tune in.
Writing poetry and stuff when I was actually about 12. And I didn't really put all the things together. I loved music so much. My friend who was a professional musician, he was like, girl, you're a musician, get it together. I was 20, so I didn't start till I was about 20. I picked up a guitar that summer. Everything on my albums, I write about personal experiences. And so literally every song is coming from my heart. I have a really difficult time writing songs that aren't
particular to my life or someone I know, or it hasn't affected me in some way, because I am a very emotional writer. I have a new music video called Wide Awake. We actually shot it in March during the pandemic, which was crazy. We had all these crazy regulations and everything. We had a really small crew. And my dear friend Angie Nolan is the director. Jenna Manzanares is my best friend and my dancer in this video. We filmed it on the ice in the middle of Alta Lake in Whistler. I didn't really think that through a whole lot, so we were freezing the entire day. We're like lying in puddles of ice. Following the journey of coming to terms with trauma and kind of being in the woods with your trauma, feeling overwhelmed by it all, but then using that trauma and emotion to create something beautiful and turn it into beauty of any sort. Using really hard situations and turning them into beauty is what life is really about, and it's all about the silver linings. I have a lot of queer friends. I have a very open group of friends, regardless of whether they identify as bisexual or queer in any way. I've been bisexual most of my adult life, but it didn't really click with me that I was until recently. I've always identified as an ally, but then I realized that I actually am queer myself. For a young queer artist, just live your life and be 100% authentic to yourself, and take your time to come to terms with coming out, but know that there is a huge support system that is around to embrace you and be yourself.
Amazing, it warms my heart, and as a community, we welcome her with open rainbows. I'm Emily Ann Fraser, you're watching Outlook TV Vancouver.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Outlook TV, but I will be back with my new co-host very soon.
And in between sucking on all that Halloween candy, make sure to check us out on all our social media platforms. And if you want, why don't you volunteer and join us?
We're one big happy family over here. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And I'm Sister Fancy Pants.
Stay safe, Canada.